The cult of personality is in full swing and in full view with this FakeStream Media Corey Lewandowski House Judiciary Committee fiasco. On the one side, you have those who side with corporate media and see them not as the CIA-controlled Operation Mockingbird state-run media psychological operation that they actually are, but rather as honest journalists, that's a joke, seeking only to dispense truth to the public. On the other side, you have those who look at Corey Lewandowski as some sort of hero who owned mainstream media and told them what for, as he pitifully attempts to convince viewers that he's looking out for the interests of the American people. Both sides are liars, but the cognitive dissonance cemented in the easily controlled minds of those on the left as well as those on the right keep both of these groups from seeing things as they really are. The result is that truth, once again, is thrown to the ground as the advancing fires of deception continue to consume the earth. The only way you can sidestep any of this BS in this Orwellian nightmare is to walk the lonely road of truth. And it's in that spirit that I present to you these segments where the teleprompter reading corporate prostitutes of legacy media attempt to hide their own long and storied history of outright lying to the public in virtually every 24/7 news cycle as they virtue signal their way back into your living rooms by giving lying Lewandowski a public browbeating. Let the Psy-Ops begin.
Let me show you an interview that you did on May 14th, 2019. Excuse me, I'm going to show it to you from February 22nd, 2019. Let me show it to you. Excuse me, May 14th, 2019. Thank you.
I don't ever remember the president ever asking me to get involved with Jeff Sessions or the Department of Justice in any way, shape, or form ever.
Did you hear that, sir? That was you saying on MSNBC, you don't ever remember the president ever asking you to get involved with Jeff Sessions or the Department of Justice in any way, shape, or form. That wasn't true, was it, sir?
I heard that.
And that was not true, was it?
I have no obligation to be honest with the media because they're just as dishonest as anybody else.
I have no obligation to be honest with the media because they're just as dishonest as anybody else.
So you're admitting, sir, you were not being truthful in that clip, correct?
My interview with Ari Melberg?
Yes.
Can be interpreted any way you'd like.
So here now, joining me exclusively on this story tonight after hours of questioning today, Corey Lewandowski. Corey, good evening. Good to see you tonight. You've had a busy day. How did you think it went?
You know, look, I think I reiterated what the American people already knew. There was no collusion. There was no obstruction. The Mueller report was very clear about that. And what we know is that the far left wing of the Democratic Party has to have these hearings to protect themselves in their congressional districts from further left progressives who want to take them out in their primary races. This is all politics. And the truth is, it's a disservice to the American people.
Corey, just to be clear, you only feel the obligation to tell the truth when you're under oath.
Which is clearly more than some of your contributors, as you know.
How can you
justify continuing to
Corey,
employ
you need to let me
someone
get a question
who's been accused of perjury?
Corey, if you want to ask the questions, you can become a journalist yourself.
Are you a journalist or are you not? I mean, is that what you are? Are you a journalist
Corey, listen,
or you're a talking head? Which one? Because
Corey,
I'm happy to answer your questions
Corey,
if they're honest and truthful.
You're listening with your mouth. And what I want you to listen to is, this is important. Do you lie to the media?
Question, Allison.
What is the answer? Yes or no?
I've answered your question.
Yes or no?
I'm as honest as I can be, as often as I can be.
So you confirmed that you were asked to obstruct justice.
No, Allison, please. That's not what I confirmed at all. By the way, the Mueller report was very clear. There was no collusion. There was no obstruction.
That's not what the Mueller report said, Corey.
It absolutely says that. And
Corey,
you should read the page that states that. And Bob Mueller
wait a second, Corey. Hold on a second. Time out. Did you read the Mueller report?
No, I never did.
Then how do you know what it says?
Because the members of Congress were very clear about what was in that report yesterday, and so I'm reiterating what they stated.
No, Corey. Sorry,
did you read the report?
Corey, of course I had to read the report.
You read the entire report?
Corey, of course I had to read the entire report. And let me tell you what it said.
Tell me.
There were 10 different examples of obstruction of justice in there.
That's not what it said. It did not say there were 10 examples of obstruction. Allison, you're being disingenuous.
Corey, here they are. Let me pull them up on the screen for you since you didn't read the Mueller report.
Put the Mueller report up on the
screen,
please.
Here we go.
That's not the Mueller report,
Here are the examples. When the president asked Comey to let the Flynn investigation go, when he tried to stop Sessions' recusal. That's the one that you were involved in. You may want to read that part. When he fired Comey, when the president tried to remove Mueller, when the president tried to get Sessions to limit the probe. That's another one you were involved in. When he obscured the purpose of the Trump Tower meeting, when he asked Sessions to reverse his recusal, asking him again to deny attempts to remove Mueller, trying to influence cooperation of witnesses, including Flynn, Manafort, and Cohen. Those are just some of the examples that scores of legal experts say are obstruction of justice.
How can legal experts make a determination when they're unfamiliar with all the facts of the case? That is so disingenuous to go and make a predetermination as a, quote, legal expert without having the opportunity to hear both sides of the case. How is that not a predetermination against this president?
Because
it's
it lays
very
it out,
disingenuous.
Corey. It lays it out in the Mueller report, all of the examples that any regular citizen would have been charged and convicted of if they were not a sitting U.S. president. You know that part, right?
I don't know that to be true.
When you confirmed that the president asked you to do that, why didn't you do that? If you didn't think it was wrong, why didn't you do what the president asked you to do?
Allison, I was very clear. I took my children on vacation, and you understand the priority of spending time with your kids, I'm sure.
How long did you go on vacation for?
I was on vacation for weeks, but I don't live in Washington, D.C.
So, but before that, did you talk to the president? I mean, did you talk to Attorney General Sessions before you went on vacation?
Look, I was very clear about that. I had a conversation with Jeff, and then I didn't see Jeff, and I never delivered the message because I took my children on vacation.
But then how about after you went on vacation?
Allison,
you could have
if it's
talked
a crime to
to
take my children on vacation, I'm guilty as charged.
Corey, you didn't do it, and you didn't do it because you must have thought it was wrong.
Did you ever become concerned that the President of the United States had asked you to do something that could expose you to criminal liability?
Was I concerned that the president asked me to do something? Not to the best of my knowledge.
Were you ever concerned that the President had asked you to do something that put you in harm's way, made you feel that you were in trouble?
I think I've asked and answered that question.
Sir, I'd like to show you a video of an interview you did on Fox News. This was on January 16th, 2018.
Oh, take the fifth. Look, you take the fifth when you're in trouble. I didn't do anything, and the campaign didn't do anything. And so I have no reason to take the fifth. I'm going to answer every question.
Sir, you were answering that with regard to your appearance before the House Intelligence Committee. You say you take the fifth when you were in trouble. You didn't do anything, so you were going to testify, and you weren't going to take the fifth before that committee with regard to questions about the campaign. Were you concerned, sir, that you had done something with regard to delivering or agreeing to deliver the president's message, and therefore you could get in trouble based on what you agreed to do and attempted to do?
I have no concerns.
Isn't it a fact, sir, that contrary to your testimony that you voluntarily appeared in front of the special counsel, when you were called to provide answers to the special counsel, you indicated your intent to assert your rights under the Fifth Amendment not to self-incriminate? Is that true?
Not to the best of my recollection. Is that in the report, sir?
Isn't that true, sir, that you refused to testify without receiving immunity?
I don't believe that's accurate. I'd be happy if you could show me that it is in the report. I'd be happy to answer it.
Sir, is it your testimony under oath that you never received immunity prior to answering questions of the special counsel?
That's a question for Special Counsel Mueller, and I won't be answering mechanics of the investigation.
My question to you, sir, is did you refuse to answer the special counsel's questions without getting a grant of immunity protecting you from having your words used against you in a criminal prosecution?
I've asked and answered your question.
Are you denying, sir, that you refused to answer questions and asserted your rights under the Fifth Amendment not to self-incriminate unless the special counsel gave you immunity?
I've asked and answered your question, sir.
Sir, do you agree with your statement that you would assert the Fifth Amendment if you believed you were in trouble, to quote your words to Fox News?
I don't think I was under any obligation when speaking to Fox News to not engage in hyperbole if I so chose. I was not under oath at any time during that discussion, but I've been very forthright today.
Is it still your testimony, sir, that you made under oath earlier that you appeared voluntarily before the special counsel and not under a grant of immunity?
To the best of my recollection, I appeared in front of the special counsel voluntarily.
Did you receive immunity, sir?
Look, as Director Mueller stated, when asked about Don Jr.'s communication to special counsel, his intent to invoke the Fifth Amendment right, Director Mueller said, and I quote, "I'm not going to answer that." So if you want to direct that question to Director Mueller, it's on page 77 of the report, you're welcome to do so.
Did you receive immunity, sir?
I've asked and answered your question.
Sir, let me ask you, have you ever been untruthful about being asked to answer questions of the special counsel?
I've already testified. I've been honest to the best of my ability.
Sir, let me show you another clip, and this one was from March 25th, 2018, from Meet the Press, March 25th, 2018.
Have you met with the special counsel, Robert Mueller? I know you've testified before the Senate and the House intel investigations. What about the special counsel?
Look, I have said very candidly, I'll be happy to speak with the special counsel if they'd like to do that. I've been very open about, I volunteered to testify for 12 hours in front of the House committee. I've testified in front of the Senate committee, and I'll make myself available because I was there at the very beginning of the campaign.
Have they asked for you yet, though? Have they asked for you?
Not yet, no.
You've not been subpoenaed, nothing? Okay.
Sir, was that truthful, what you said on national television on March 25th, 2018, that the special counsel had not asked to speak to you at that date?
I don't know if they asked to speak to me by that date.
So you know your interview that's reported in the special counsel report was on April 6, 2018.
Is that accurate? Is that the day of the interview?
Yes.
If that's what the report says, and I'll take it to be accurate.
And sir, you made public statements denying that you had been asked to give answers to the special counsel when you actually had. You had been untruthful about that. Isn't that true, sir?
Are we talking about a discussion with the media or in front of a committee of jurisdiction where I've been sworn to testify?
I'm talking about your public statements to the American public.
I'm sorry. Nobody in front of Congress has ever lied to the public before. I'm sorry.
Sir, is that an admission that you did lie?
Absolutely not.
Oh, so did you lie, sir, in television interviews denying that you'd been asked to give answers to the special counsel?
I don't believe so.
So you deny that you ever lied in public statements about whether you were asked?
What I'm saying is, when under oath, I've always told the truth, whether it was before special counsel, whether it was before the House Judiciary Committee, whether it was before the House Intelligence Committee on 2 separate occasions, or before the Senate Intelligence Committee. Every time I've raised my right hand to God, I've sworn and told the truth.
That's not my question to you, sir. We'll get to that. My question to you, sir, is on national television, did you lie about your relationship with the special counsel and whether they sought your interview?
I don't know.
And, sir, did you lie about it because you didn't want the world to find out that you were afraid you could be exposed to criminal liability and you were only going to appear as to certain issues with a grant of immunity, protecting your words from being used against you in a criminal prosecution?
I'm going to go back to what Director Mueller stated. He's not going to answer that question. I'm not going to allow you to use me as a backdoor into his methods. If you'd like to question Director Mueller about the way of the investigation techniques of the Justice Department, you've had that opportunity to do so, but clearly you didn't. So take him back here and bring him before the committee and ask those questions. Those questions are not for me.
Let me ask you this, sir. Prior to the Mueller report being published in redacted form, did you ever misrepresent what you did on behalf of the president?
I can't think of an instance where that would have occurred.
Let me show you an interview that you did on May 14th, 2019. Excuse me. I'm going to show it to you from February 22nd, 2019. Let me show it to you. Excuse me, May 14th, 2019. Thank you.
I don't ever remember the president ever asking me to get involved with Jeff Sessions or the Department of Justice in any way, shape, or form ever.
Did you hear that, sir? That was you saying on MSNBC, you don't ever remember the president ever asking you to get involved with Jeff Sessions or the Department of Justice in any way, shape, or form. That wasn't true, was it, sir?
I heard that.
And that was not true, was it?
I have no obligation to be honest to the media because they're just as dishonest as anybody else.
So you're admitting, sir, you were not being truthful in that clip, correct?
My interview with Ari Melberg?
Yes.
Can be interpreted any way you'd like.
Would you like me to?
Why did you decide to go? Did you feel that the subpoena was, that you had to because of the subpoena?
Look, I've always said I will come and answer questions. I've spent more than 20, maybe 25 hours answering questions before the House Intelligence Committee, the Senate Intelligence Committee, the Special Counsel's Office. I have nothing to hide because we never committed any crimes at the campaign. We never colluded with anyone, which is exactly what the Mueller report says. So I was happy to go, but then they decided to issue me a subpoena. And then last week they changed the rules of the House so that not only members of Congress could ask me questions, but consultants to the committee who were brought in just for the impeachment proceeding could then start asking questions. It's a very unfair process.
All right. Jackie Spear was on CNN today, and she believes that because of your appearance today, you should be fined. Watch this.
If I were Mr. Nadler right now, I would be slapping Mr. Lewandowski with an inherent contempt order and calling him in front of the House of Representatives and fining him.
What do you say to that?
I've never, look, maybe that's happened before. I've never heard of somebody being fined after going in front of Congress. Hey, why don't you go and bring Jim Comey back, who we know has perjured himself in front of Congress? Why don't you take the opportunity and have a testimony with Michael Horowitz, who wrote the Inspector General's report? Why don't you fix the problem of illegal immigration, which is, killing Americans because they're coming across the border illegally? These are actually the obligations of the House Judiciary Committee. But instead they want to bring me forward, and Jackie Spear wants to fine me for what? Coming to Congress and testifying in open Congress under oath? I'm happy to do that.
So this is part of the testimony when Representative Hakeem Jeffries brought up the fact that you are interested in running for Senate in New Hampshire and suggested that maybe that was why you were there. Watch this.
This is not a Republican primary campaign. You are not on the campaign trail yet. This is the House Judiciary Committee. Act like you know the difference.
Look, I was subpoenaed to show up. This wasn't like, hey, Corey Lewandowski is going to launch his U.S. Senate campaign in front of the House Judiciary Committee. Nobody's ever done that before. But what the congressman failed to articulate was I was compelled by a lawful subpoena to show up today, and that's what I did.
So you did tweet, though, thank you at Real Donald Trump. No collusion, no obstruction. The American people know it. And I'll continue to remind them, hashtag Senate 2020, hashtag stand with Corey.
Well, hey, by the way, there's nothing wrong with still having the right of freedom of speech. And, they can have the opportunity to rake me over the coals for 4, 5, 6 hours, maybe, to remind the American people what I already know and have always said: there was no collusion, no obstruction. I think the people of New Hampshire deserve new leadership, and I'm going to make a decision very soon if I want to run for the U.S. Senate.
All right. So the core, just to go to the core of the questioning, they really focused on the president's request to you to have a conversation with Jeff Sessions about removing Robert Mueller, which you say you never ended up doing, correct?
That's right. I've never met with Jeff Sessions to relay that message.
Why didn't you?
Well, look, because I went on vacation, because it wasn't a priority, to be honest with you. And so, and I said this in the committee. The president asked me to go have a conversation with Jeff Sessions, is basically what's in the Mueller report. I've testified to the fact that I believe that to be accurate, and then I just never did it. And so they want to talk about what may have transpired had I spoken to Jeff Sessions. But it's all speculation because I never had the conversation. So what is there to potentially talk about?
I mean, it looks like, and this is, let's play Representative Hank Johnson here on this line of questioning. Watch.
You felt a little squeamish about delivering that message, correct?
No, sir.
Well, why did it take you so long and you never even delivered it?
Correct. I never delivered the message.
Yeah, you chickened out.
I went on vacation.
You went on vacation.
That got a lot of laughs.
Well, it's true. Look, it was the summertime. My kids wanted to go to the beach, and so I took my kids to the beach. I mean, they make it seem like this is this big nefarious idea. We went to the beach for 2 weeks. We went up to Maine. We had fun in the sun, right? That's what we did. Big deal. I mean, look, maybe Congressman Johnson has never been on vacation. I'm not sure. But when it came to the family, I decided to prioritize them over a potential message to Jeff Sessions.
So, I mean, I guess regardless of what the president wanted to achieve by asking you to do that, you never did that. And it also, I think, bears reminding people that the president never did fire Robert Mueller, and that at the end of the investigation, Robert Mueller said that it was never impeded.
It's such an important point. You've articulated what's so important. Mueller had free reign all the way through his investigation to conduct it in any way he wanted. Neither the acting attorney general, the deputy attorney general, or the current attorney general attempted to impede the Mueller investigation in any way. And Bob Mueller testified to that. And that's a very important point.
You know, when you look at this, you step back. You're a former campaign manager for the Trump campaign. Look at the political optics, as we like to say, of all of this. How do you think their pursuit of this plays for them with the American people politically? And how do you think it plays for President Trump that this is still being pursued?
Well, the American people don't want this. Your polling data just showed that. And what we do know is if the Democrats in Congress and the majority of the House of Representatives had enough votes to impeach the president, they would have already done that. But it's only 1/3 of their caucus that's supporting this, which is basically the same amount of the American people who support this. 65% of the American people know what I already know. The president didn't commit any crimes, didn't collude with any foreign entities, and didn't try and stop the Mueller investigation. So if he's guilty of something, it's of putting America first. And if that's the case, then he's absolutely guilty as charged.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a report this week that shows that the FBI's communications have been, interfered with over the last several years in a really shocking way. And I can't help but think what kind of time and effort, if it had gone into that angle of this investigation, might have, sort of actually brought more fruit in terms of keeping the country safe. But we'll see. Corey, thank you very much. Good to see you here tonight.
Before you guys leave, I have 3 brand new designs in the shirt store. Nobody needs an AR-15. Well, nobody needs a whiny little bitch either, and yet here you are. Against all enemies, Democrat and Republican, and 9/11 was an inside job. You can get any of the over 90 original designs on a shirt, hoodie, or a mug, and every purchase helps me put out more content on this channel. The link for these kick-ass shirts is in the description and in the pinned comment. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.